we have the opportunity to do great things. But you know what has to change? You. Good morning, brothers. The title given to me is remain accountable. It says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 in verse 10, it says, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. That is the ultimate accountability report. And I'm so fired up for discipling, because we don't have to wait for Judgment Day. We can have daily accountability with our discipling relationships. And you know, a lot of times, we don't understand what accountability really is. Accountability doesn't have anything to do with responsibility. An account is simply a report or a description of an event or an experience. It simply pulls together what has happened in the past, your life. And I want to convince you today that accountability saves you. We do not have to shake in fear about giving an account for what we've done. When we get open, we can change. And I love the Bible because the Bible is a study of humanity. You have so many reports and accounts of other men and women in the scriptures. And yet there's two categories. There's examples and there's warnings. See, people will be remembered no matter what they do. You can be faithful to God and be remembered for your faithfulness, or you can be wicked and in sin and remembered for that. Because the truth is, circumstances have always been the same. None of us goes through more challenging things than the people who lived in the past 6,000 years of recorded human history. It has always been the same. You know what changes? The faces. Problems are the same, but the people change. And so when I look into the Bible, there were ordinary men, and yet they did extraordinary things. You look at brothers, Cain and Abel, the very first kids, one very noble, wholehearted, and the other one a murderer. You look at Enoch, there's not much written about him in the scriptures except for the fact that he was pleasing God. There was Noah. He saved humanity. There was Ezra, who restored the worship after they were in exile. There was Abraham, who came up with the covenant, or God made a covenant with him, and for all people, Gentiles as well as Jews. There was Moses, who led the very first nation of God. He built the sanctuary, the tabernacle. There was David, who slew Goliath. There were the apostles who evangelized all nations. And then there was Saul, who died in his pride. There was Solomon, the wisest fool. There was Jeroboam, who started calf worship and comfort. There was Ahab, who worshipped Baal. It was said about him that he was more evil than anyone before him. There was Omri, Zimri, Athaliah, and ultimately Judas, who sold Jesus for the price of a slave. We have the opportunity to do great things. But you know what has to change? You. If you look at your accountability report of 2022 and you want 2023 to be better, guess who got to get better? You. If you want to change what happened in 2022 and 2023, guess who has to change? It's you. See, when I die, and I stand before Jesus Christ, and we are hugging each other. We're like, we made it. And he goes and he points to the right, and there's like this huge whiteboard. And there's a whole list of things. I'm like, what is this? He goes, these are the things that you've done. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But then he pulls out this huge book, puts it on the table. And I go, what is this? He says, this was the account that I've actually written for you. These are the things that you didn't do in your lifetime. We gotta have that mindset of always growing. We gotta always get better. We cannot stagnate in our growth. We gotta keep on pushing ourselves. So the challenge is very simple. Write down your goals. That is what you can do. And write down the miracles. That is what God only can do. Amen. For 2023, pray for it every day. Study it every day. Do the things that need to be changed for you to see these things come to fruition, and to God be all the glory.